I just want to make it clear before the video starts that I really love Invincible. So the reason why I'm even making this critique video is because I like it so much and I care to critique it. Now, before the video continues, I just want to say there's going to be spoilers for seasons 1 and season 2, and I'm going to make a little reference to Across the Spider-Verse. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you click off the video, or if you don't care, just keep watching. So I don't know if anyone else is feeling this, but I think Invincible is getting a little too chaotic. I just finished watching episode 4, and now they're on their mid-season break, so episode 5 to 8 is going to come out in a couple months, I guess. And in that meantime, there's like a lot of stuff to think about. I feel like there's so many things to juggle and not enough episodes to handle it. And so I'm left to wonder, what's gonna happen? In contrast, season 1 was a lot more self-contained. It was 8 episodes of very solid material. Sure, there were like some funky things here and there, but overall a very enjoyable experience. There's a nice beginning and end. Most of the plot points were like set and finished, and then there was also a lot of speculation for what could happen next. There was like a lot of room to continue. But right now, I feel like season 2 is gonna pull an Across the Spider-Verse, and what I mean by that is that like it's gonna be a setup for next seasons, and I don't really want that to happen. I want to see an actual conclusion of some stories before they move on and build up on other stuff. And you know, in Across the Spider-Verse, the whole movie has this like big plot point, but it like stops and is a cliffhanger before it even gets to like a big resolution. So I like all that waiting in between kind of makes me like, I don't like it, because the wait between season 1 and season 2 of Invincible was like 2.5 years. They have this mid-season break that's like a couple months to separate 4 episodes, and I guess they're just milking out time to give people content. And I know that it's like a very busy process, and I know, you know, TV shows can't just be released on like a daily basis, or you can't drop like 10 episodes in one day and just binge them all. I understand that, but I just feel like with all of this, it just seems like we're gonna be waiting a lot longer. 2.5 years for Invincible season 2, another probably like 3-4 month break before we get episodes 5 to 8, and then God knows how long, like another year and a half before we get season 3. And if there's so many like cliffhanging like pieces at the end of season 2 that they don't patch up, it's gonna make season 3's wait even worse. And then like, you know, if they keep doing that for 4, 5, 6, however many seasons they're gonna make, it's gonna be kind of uncomfortable. People say, oh, you want quality over quantity. That's true, but I feel like the amount of time, the quantity of time I'm waiting isn't really meeting the quality of the content that I'm receiving. And that's like, for a very big studio with a very big budget, with like, you know, with all this stuff running, I feel like there could be more done instead of all this waiting in between. Now, before I get into this critique, I want to say there's a lot of things that I really enjoy about the show. The first thing I really enjoy is Debbie and Mark's like mental health journey, adjusting to living without Omni-Man, because yeah, they found out, you know, Nolan was actually a genocidal alien who just wanted to control Earth. Yeah, that's freaking terrible. You go your whole life living a lie. How are you gonna adjust to that? So I really enjoy, you know, the process by which they go through it. Some things are iffy here and there, but it really makes them feel more human, because that's what separates humans from like Viltrumites, is because they show compassion and empathy and they care for each other. Another thing that I really like about the second season is that they have a lot more really cool fight scenes. So you have Mark fighting, you know, like that beast in Atlantis. You have the very opening scene where Immortal is fighting Invincible and Omni-Man. Oh my god, the way Omni-Man kills Immortal is so satisfying. And then you have the fight scene with Omni-Man and Invincible with like the Viltrumites. That's really cool. The background's really beautiful. I really like the Flaxlands planet. And I also like seeing how the plot mostly circulates around the people we care about, namely Mark, Debbie. I guess Cecil isn't around as much as I'd like him to be, but those are like my 3 main characters that I really care about, and it's satisfying to watch when Omni-Man finally comes back. And I also love how they keep the show feeling like a comic book. These things, the fight scenes, the character development with Debbie and Mark, and then how it feels like a comic book, all these things are really, really fantastic. So now consider all the good things that I said and think about all the stuff that I've left out. Yeah, the show kind of expects you to like juggle a lot of things at once, and it's a little anxiety inducing because there's so much stuff. There's literally way too much stuff you have to like pay attention to, and this is why I feel like it's chaotic. Obviously you have the main plot point, which is Invincible, and it kind of follows like the Viltrumites and stuff, and then you have Adam Eve doing like a self-discovery thing. After that, I guess you have like Alan. Is he dead? I don't know, that's kind of sad to see. And then you have like, there's drama with the Guardians. They're introducing some new players, some new people that are kind of sassy, and then they introduce like the Shapesmith. And then within the Guardians, there's like the weird love triangle with Immortal, Kate, and Rexplode. And then there's like a little love thing that's continued from the last season of Monster Girl and Robot. Like, there's a lot of subplots happening. There's also, I guess, like Debbie's support group, which lasted for like 2 scenes and they kicked her out, and then like Art just comes back. Yeah, I thought he died, by the way, but Art just comes back and like ends up being like the help that she needed to begin with. But like, why didn't he do it like months ago? Isn't that what like a good friend should do? Like, like she shouldn't have had to anyways. And then there's also Donald trying to figure out if he's like a clone or something, or like from a new dimension, or I don't know. There's also like these random new villains, the Lizard Gang or whatever, and I guess they're gonna have world domination. And then there's like the standard like Doc Seismic and the guy with the arm that are still running around for some reason. I'm not sure why they can't just like keep him in jail. So it kind of like adds to like more stuff you gotta pay attention to. And then in like the previous seasons even, there's like some stuff that like was never fully explained or wrapped up, I feel like. I've watched season 1 3 times, and I really find it interesting how Titan, the concrete guy, kind of takes over Machine Head's role as like this big mob boss, and I feel like that situation technically didn't solve itself. They just like replaced one guy with another guy, like when Stalin took over like Russia. Like, it's still Russia, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like anything was fixed, just new leadership. There's also some things like the face hugger Martian thing. Like, I guess I know the Shapesmith came to Earth, and he's a Martian, but like, what about the planet? Like, what's going on there? And then there's also like, I want to see Battle Beast return, because dude was freaking killer, and he like destroyed tons of people. He even like gave Mark a run for his money, And then the Mauler twins don't really do anything. In the 4th episode, they kind of just have like a little bit where it's like, oh, this is what happens if like the Mauler twins know that one of them is a clone and one of them's not, and then that's it. It just took up like an extra couple minutes of screen time for no reason. But I guess that leads me to the biggest elephant in the room, which is they also helped the portal guy, the big brain portal guy, condense his mind into like one being, and that is such a cliffhanger. Like, they introduced that guy at the very, very beginning of the season, and yet he hasn't done anything at all for the season. He had so many like really cool things he could be doing and showing, but like he's not. Like, they're not doing stuff with him. He can show like a bunch of different realities, so I want to see like realities like in the 1st episode where Omni-Man and Invincible are taking over like Earth. I want to see how like Adam Eve is doing after she's paralyzed. I want to know what's happened to the other Guardians of the Galaxy, or Guardians of the Globe, and then there's like one where like Cecil and Donald are women and they have Mark locked up. Like, what's up with that? So many possibilities, and it's not being explored. And there's only 4 episodes left of this season. Like, come on. So yeah, this seems like a lot of stuff to balance in your head. And if you're just a casual watcher and enjoyer, fine. But like me, because I only watch like a couple shows here and there, like in the whole year, if I watch like 2 or 3 shows, I really like dissecting and like tearing apart these shows and giving it my all. And it's kind of hard to do when there's so many pieces. I'm sure I missed a lot of stuff too, but like, it's just too too much. With just 4 episodes left, I worry we're not gonna get answers for this stuff until like years down the line. Maybe 2.5 years later, when season 3, episode 6 comes out. Oh boy, we finally get like the closed plot point of like the face huggers from season 1. Or like, oh, in like season 3, episode 8, maybe we'll get to see like Mark traverse a different universe for the first time. You know, like I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see it like set up so early and have it just like be nothing. You know, like there's so many questions that need to be answered, and it's just like they really don't have enough time for all of it. What made Invincible season 1 so good is that they had a really, really good, impactful finale. But like if season 2 were to try to close up all of its plot points, it would be like a finale focusing on like 4 different things at once, and it just wouldn't be as impactful. Like one thing would conclude, then another, and then like maybe the final thing would be the most impactful. But why even set up these 3 things if they're not going to get like a proper conclusion, and it's just going to be shoehorned in, and then like the actual finale, like the actual conclusion or the actual like cliffhanger or whatever is going to be like the last thing you see. Man, I really am excited for more Invincible. So I guess, you know, there's a lot of hope because there's going to be like a lot of world building, and you know, there's going to be like a lot left to the imagination. But you know, I'm just worried about like the timeline and how they're going to do this. In the end, you know, I just want them to conclude these storylines well, so there's like no loose ends per se in the universe, but there's still enough for like fans to speculate and build on if they ever want to, and it can be like an interactive thing. But I just feel like there's so many things. It's gonna go on for season after season after season, and the wait is gonna be way more unbearable than like the weight of waiting is gonna surpass what it's actually like enjoying and watching it. So that's like my biggest problem with it. I'm just worried they're doing way too much, and I wish they would slow down. They really honestly could have stopped like 3 or 4 things and just focused and given us more quality content. Like if the Viltrumites, you know, fought longer, or if we learn more about this or that, like it could be a lot cooler. But that's just my opinion. So let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.